So Gervonta Davis stops Mario Barrios in the 11th round in their title fight for the WBA regular super lightweight title in Atlanta. There were 16,000 people in attendance to watch Gervonta Davis win his quote-unquote third world title against Barrios, who was the WBA regular champion. To me, the only champion at 140 pounds is Josh Taylor, but I'll get onto that later on. We'll talk about the fight itself. Like, you could tell straight away that Barrios was a lot bigger than Davis, because he's a more natural 140 pounder than Davis, whose last fight was at 130 pounds, even though the 135 pound lightweight title was on the line against Santa Cruz. And it was just all confusing. So many belts, too many belts in boxing. That's the problem right now. Like, you get guys calling themselves champions and they're going up and down weights because they're fighting for these regular belts, and they're saying, oh, I'm a 3-division champion, even though they're not fighting for full world. It's just a lot of malarkey, in my opinion. But as for the fight, like I said, you could tell Barrios was a lot bigger than Davis in the ring, naturally, and there was no rehydration clause because they didn't put it in the contract. So Barrios came to the ring weighing whatever he wanted to, and it was obvious how big he was compared to Davis, but that didn't stop Davis from doing what Davis does, trying to get on the inside, land heavy level. Like, Davis don't mind taking a couple of shots to get on the inside and land his own. Like, he was taking some shots from Barrios. Like, the first few rounds were very cagey. Like, the first 5 or 6 rounds were very cagey, but then you could tell that something was going to happen. That's always the case with Gervonta Davis fights. Like, you can always tell that he's going to get on the inside eventually and land something. Like, he gets closer and closer, he manages to close the distance and start landing them heavy hooks and uppercuts onto his opponents, the body shots. And yeah, the first 7 rounds, it was a pretty close fight, in my opinion. A lot of people had Barrios up. A lot of people felt it was close, and some had Davis up. But in the 8th round, the fight turned in Davis's favour. He managed to drop Barrios with a great shot. Barrios was hurt, like, he was noticeably wobbled. He got back up to his feet, and then Davis swarmed on him and landed another heavy shot that put him down again. And credit to Mario Barrios, like, he managed to ride out that storm in that 8th round. A lot of people would have got stopped, but he managed to show his heart. He managed to show that El Azteca warrior spirit that he said that he had, and he managed to go on for a couple more rounds. But you could tell that Davis eventually was going to get to him, and that's what happened in the 11th round. That you could tell something was going to happen eventually, and that Davis was going to put the fight to bed. I think something happened in the corner at the end of the 9th round. I think Floyd Mayweather came up to Gervonta Davis and told him that he was down on the unofficial scorecards, and I think that woke Davis up to try and get the finish, and he managed to get it in the 11th round. He hit Barrios with like an uppercut to his body, to the solar plexus, and it was a bit of a delayed reaction, but Barrios went down. He did manage to get up again, Barrios. Like I said, he showed a warrior spirit. Like, a lot of people would have just stayed down and just called it a night, but no, Barrios wanted to get up. He wanted to go out on his shield, and then Davis swarmed him again, hit him with another heavy shot against the ropes, and then the referee waved the fight off, and Gervonta Davis was victorious, and he became the WBA regular interim, whatever, 140 pound champion. And a lot of people are buzzing about Gervonta Davis right now. A lot of people are saying this guy is the next face of boxing. Like, I know a lot of people like to say Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, whoever's going to be the next face of boxing, and Ryan Garcia. Like, every time one of these guys fights and they win, like, everyone proclaims, oh, that's the next face of boxing, this is the guy. So it's the same with Tank Davis. Every time he wins, and he wins in great fashion, all the fans start to say, oh, he's the face of boxing now. So, it's going to be interesting when these guys fight, because that's what we want. We want these guys to fight. We want Teofimo Lopez, we want Gervonta Davis, we want Devin Haney, we want Ryan Garcia all to fight each other, because we want to see who is the man, who's going to be the next breakout star in boxing after Floyd Mayweather retired. We want to see who's going to be the next pay-per-view star. But right now, I think out of all 4 of them, I think Gervonta Davis might just be ahead. I don't know, Ryan Garcia has a lot of buzz around him, obviously, with the social media stuff, but I think Gervonta Davis, especially in the African-American community in America has a lot of buzz about him right now. And obviously his performances are so exciting. Like, every time he fights, you just know he's going to put somebody down eventually. You know he's going to land that shot that's either going to end the fight or start the events that's going to end the fight. So that's why Gervonta Tank Davis is a very, very exciting fighter. And I think in his next fight, he needs to step up now. I know he stepped up in this fight, but technically he didn't. Like, he needs a name. He needs a big fight, in my opinion, to really say, yeah, this is the man. That's why I said these guys need to fight each other out of Teofimo, Devon, Tank, and God. Like, these guys need these fights now. We need to see who the best is out of all of these guys. Like Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Marvin. They all fought each other. The four kings. You know what I mean? And we could have that again with these guys, but they're not fighting each other, and that's what we need to see. And obviously, like I said, we have Josh Taylor, who's the undisputed 140-pound champion. He has every belt that matters. He has the WBA super belt or the proper belt, the IBF, the WBC, the WBO, the ring. He has everything. So, for me, if I'm Josh Taylor, because Josh Taylor is a great fighter. Like, what he's done in 18 fights is incredible. Like, beat champion after champion, picked up the belts, and now he's undisputed. But he just doesn't have that support. Like, his promotional outfits since he's been pro have been terrible. Like, he was with the McGuigans. They didn't really do anything to build his name up. He was in good fights with Gervonta Davis, and then obviously he was in the WBSS final against Regis Prograis. That was quite a big fight in the UK. But again, that was on the undercard. Well, that was the main event, of the Chisora Parker fight. And a lot of people felt that should have been the main event. But obviously Chisora and Parker didn't end up fighting. And yeah, Josh Taylor, he needs some backing behind him, because this is a guy who's done incredible things in 18 fights. He's cleaned his division out. And if I'm Josh Taylor, right, I want the Tank Davis fight. That's what I'm saying. Like, Tank Davis is at 140 pounds. If I'm Josh Taylor, then I want the Tank Davis fight, because Tank Davis is a name right now. He's got the buzz. You've got NBA players. You've got football players. You've got ex-boxers on Twitter after his fights just raving about him. Like this guy, Mike Tyson, has said that Gervonta Davis is the greatest fighter in the world right now. Like, that is some admission for Tank Davis. So if I'm Josh Taylor, then I'm looking at Gervonta Davis. Obviously, he's a smaller guy. Josh Taylor is a very big light welterweight. He has all the belts. He's an elite fighter himself. So if I'm Taylor, I'm thinking, I want the Gervonta Davis fight. I want to jump onto that buzz. I want to have that big payday, because that will be a big fight if Josh Taylor fights Gervonta Davis for the undisputed super lightweight titles. Like, if he defends them against Gervonta Davis, that will be a massive fight. But obviously Josh Taylor is looking at Terence Crawford. But again, Terence Crawford is not a big name. Gervonta Davis right now I think is a bigger name than Terence Crawford. And look how much Terence Crawford has achieved in boxing. But Tank Davis is just something about him, his performances, the way he fights, the way he carries himself. Obviously the way he's come up. He's come from the streets of Baltimore. He's been boxing since he was about 7 or 8 years old. He's been with his trainer for that long. You know, he's just got a good story that people can get behind. A kid from the streets who's turned his life around. And obviously he's caused a bit of controversy in the past outside of the ring. Obviously getting into trouble. Like, you know what I mean? He just, you know what I mean? He has that buzz about him. He has that aura about him right now, Gervonta Davis. That's the word. He has the aura about him. So if I'm Josh Taylor, I want that fight. But we'll have to see what happens. We want to see what Gervonta Davis does next. I think Gervonta Davis, if he stays at 140 pounds, I think he'll fight Regis Prograis in his next fight. I think that will be the next fight for Gervonta Davis if he stays at 140 pounds. But he has options. He might just want to go back down to 135 pounds. He might not like fighting at 140 pounds. He might want to go back down to 135. But he definitely carried his power and his speed. Like, that's just gone up the weight classes with him. Like, that's very good to see a fighter still have that, because with some fighters, good example, Lewis Ritson, he was cleaning everybody out domestically at 135 pounds, goes up to 140 pounds, all his pop is gone. No power no more. That might have just been because he was a bigger guy, compared to the fighters at lightweight. He was a massive lightweight, but he didn't carry his power up. But Gervonta Davis, he's carrying the power, he's carrying the speed. He's only, 5'6", so he hasn't got the height compared to some of these fighters at super lightweight. But, you know, he's got the power, he's got the speed, he's got the tenacity, he's got the athleticism, he's skillful. Like, I'm a fan of Gervonta Davis. I love watching Gervonta Davis fight, but I just want to see him fight somebody of note. I'm sick of these WBA regular belts and not fighting real champions, but then saying you are a champion, and it's just a load of malarkey. So, yeah, that's just my opinions on this. What do you guys think of the fight? Comment below in the comment section of what you guys think Gervonta Davis should do next. Should he stay at 140? Should he go back down? Who should he fight? Comment below in the comment section and subscribe to the channel.